Near mint condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome.
This is Mr. Chris Claremont, a legend.
Melanie goes,
Tired.
how's it going, all you minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And join me today for your advanced look at the Ultimate Fantastic Four Omnibus Volume 1 from Marvel Comics. So let's go ahead and take a look at this together. And welcome back, everybody. Before going any further, a big thank you to David Gabriel and the fine folks at Marvel for sending us an advanced copy of this omnibus. This omnibus is due out in the direct market and book market on March 18th or 19th, depending on where you get your books. What we're looking at here is the direct market cover. This is the one that is supplied by Jay Lee. On the left-hand side is your standard edition cover, and that is the one that is supplied by Stuart Eminem. And one thing to take note, besides the cover, there's also a difference in the spine. The spine of the standard edition has the Fantastic Four, the heroes, while the spine of the direct market cover has the villains like Annihilus and Mole Man and, of course, Doctor Doom. But everything underneath the dust jacket is the same, so let's shift the focus back to this cover right here. I really love the way that Ben is just spreading those doors out. Ultimate Fantastic Four logo, the Marvel logo there, and there we have a closer look at the spine. Marvel Omnibus Ultimate Fantastic Four. I really like the design, the pattern they are using for this omnibus here. Volume 1, again, the four villains, and then the back of the book, collecting the textless covers right there with the ISBN, Classic Heroes Reinvented. That's right, before I even open this up, by the way, I love that cover. I'll open this up. This does take place in a different universe. This isn't the 616 universe. So this is a new incarnation of the Fantastic Four. As a matter of fact, while I have the dust jacket on, let's go ahead and put it on the shelf. So it belongs on the Ultimate shelf. However, I'm running out of room on my Ultimate shelf. So, man, I need to make some more room. But yes, this is the third ongoing series in the Ultimate Universe. And I'm surprised they don't have any of the actual creators on the spine. And this flaps right here. So there's a little bit about the creators. Brian Michael Bendis, Mike Carey. Mike Carey taking second billing. Interesting. Warren Ellis, Mark Miller, Mitch Breitweiser, Stuart Eminem, Adam Kubert, Greg Land, and Jay Lee. And yeah, I thought Warren Ellis and Mark Miller wrote more than Mike Carey did, so that's interesting that he's taking the second top billing. Futuristic, fresh, and fantastic. And again, the pattern. Love it. I love that 4 pattern. That's really cool. And the art on board here, drawn by Greg Land. So we are going to crack this omnibus open. I'm going to tell you about the stories in here, and also look at this artwork and look at the extras of the book. I forgot to mention that the stories collected in here have been previously collected in a series of oversized hardcovers and, of course, trade paperbacks. So really, these 3 oversized hardcovers right here make up what's collected in this omnibus. Kind of give you an idea of, actually, let's zoom out a little bit. There we go. So you can kind of see just the size comparison here. So volumes 1, 2, and 3 are collected in this omnibus. And I'll do a little internal comparison. Not much, but just a little bit here in a second. All right, so let's go ahead and crack this omnibus open. So there's your end sheets right there. And this piece by Stuart Eminem and Ultimate Fantastic Four. And all the credits broken down by the different story arcs, including the annual right here. So written by people like Mark Miller and Brian Michael Bendis, Warren Ellis, Mike Carey, and then Mark Miller again coming back for the book here. So in here, you're going to have Ultimate Fantastic Four 1 through 32 and Ultimate Fantastic Four Annual Number 1. The book has 856 pages and retails for $100. So to give you an idea as to the type of stories found in here, everything that you read in like Fantastic Four number 1 from 1961 is told, or retold rather, and modernized in 6 different issues at the very beginning. So the first 6 issues, we start off with the birth of Mr. Fantastic, or just Reed Richards. And it shows how he's bullied at school, and how his buddy Ben Grimm comes in here to call him the Grim Reaper. At least that's what Reed's dad calls him. So Reed has a really weird relationship with his parents. It's almost non-existent. His dad wishes that Reed would be some kind of sports player that was into football, that was into cars like he is. But Reed is all about the books and studying and about science. As a matter of fact, he borrows a lot of his father's pieces from his vehicle to make some new type of scientific experiments. But his best friend, who looks like a freaking adult here, is always at his side, always has his back. Now, eventually, the government finds out through it was a science fair at school that Reed is a lot smarter than the other kids. So they have the Midtown Middle School Science Fair right here. This is after he gets yelled at by his father because he has this obsession. Actually, as a matter of fact, he tells Ben that his obsession is to find this other dimension, which will be known as the End Zone later on. But his father doesn't believe in this dream, neither does his mother. So at the science fair, he does pique the interest of somebody called Mr. Lumpkin. Now, does this guy have anything to do with Willie Lumpkin? Is this the ultimate version of him? Probably. So he gets him put into this program at the Baxter Building that's ran by this gentleman right here, Professor Storm. There's other characters you're going to be seeing through here, especially in the second issue, like Arthur Molovic. What is his name? Arthur Molkovic? Molkovic, that's it, who will become one of the big villains. But Dr. Storm shows Reed that there is another world out there that they're trying to tap. And it continues into the second issue right here. This is Arthur Molovic. But in here, in this Baxter Building program, he gets to meet Sue Storm, he gets to meet her younger brother Johnny Storm, and how both of them are into science, and something unfortunately happened to their mother in the past that they lost her. Ben is still doing his Ben thing. He's not part of this program, but he will come and play a big role when there's a big scientific experiment that happens that will forever change their lives. We're introduced in the second issue to this gentleman right here. That is none other than Victor Van Dam. That's right. Man, I remember how upset some people, I don't know if it was just some people, it could have been a lot of people, were at the change of the name Victor Von Doom to Victor Van Dam. Anyway, Professor Arthur Molovic gets fired from here and ends up, claiming that he's going to get revenge. So the scientific experiment finally takes place where they're trying to tap into this end zone, if you will. And of course, if you read the 616 universe, you know that's a negative zone. So a big explosion happens. Reed is separated from the rest of his friends, and he's in the middle of the experiment right here, and he's stretched out. The government is trying to, or the military is just trying to shoot him down, which I thought, damn, that's really messed up. And they're all being led by General Thaddeus Ross. And of course, Franklin Storm, the father, Professor Storm, is the one in charge of the project. They tell him that they have found Ben Grimm somewhere in New Mexico. They have found Johnny Storm in France, and they are going through changes. So we know where Johnny, we know where Ben and Reed are, but where is Sue Storm? Well, she is in the sewers, hanging out with this creepy guy right here who will be known as Mole Man. So the first 6 issues is setting up who the Fantastic Four are, their powers, and explaining you what each of them can do. And the city is attacked by giant monsters, of course, all being led by Mole Man. So really what I said about that first issue of the Fantastic Four is spread out within 6 issues. Now, the question is, we know where the 6 are. Where the hell is Victor Van Dam? Well, that can be found in the second story arc called Doom. That's right. This is the one that's drawn by Stuart Eminem. Adam Kubert did the first arc, and he will be back. Now, Victor got shifted to another world, or rather another world. Why did I say world? Oh, because there's different worlds in here. He ended up getting teleported to another country. And it is a unique take on Latveria in what he does and how he builds his country. But he himself has changed. Dr. Doom in here has been reimagined in a really weird way. Not only is he just like a brilliant man in this suit of armor, and his origin is very similar to that of his titular version, the 616 version. He's been physically transformed, and you'll see when you're flipping through here. Now, this is the story that's written by Warren Ellis, and Warren Ellis does something different than what Brian Michael Bendis and Mark Millar did. What he does is he gets more into the science of the Fantastic Four. Like, what happens when Ben Grimm has to go to the bathroom? Does the food change inside of his body? So he goes deep into the science of each of the characters. There's a big robotic fly attack here. Has lots of action. As a matter of fact, this book has probably more action than Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man, or Ultimate X-Men from this era. So this is the big fight against Dr. Doom and his minions, and how he's able to get his minions to work for him. And then eventually Mark Millar does come back to the book for the next story arc right here. And this is the one where we actually explore the End Zone. And much like the 616 version of the End Zone, the Negative Zone, you are going to see familiar characters here with a twist. And I think that's why a lot of people enjoyed the Ultimate Universe, is that you see familiar characters with a little bit of a twist. I think the biggest change in a character, for me at least, was the character of the Mad Thinker. I like the creepiness that is added to the Mad Thinker. So this one, of course, shows Annihilus and what he's able to bring from this other dimension. Now, opening up that dimension will open up future storylines. Like, it starts off in the Negative Zone and what other people have traveled there, and it comes back to New York. Now, this is the one with the Mad Thinker storyline right here. This, I think, is a really creepy version of the Mad Thinker. This is the one written by Mike Carey. So Mike Carey writes a couple of issues here, and you get to see a reimagining of this character right here, and who she is, and how she reacts to someone like Reed Richards when she thinks she's the smartest person in the room. Couple of issues here, and it's a psychedelic type of story. And then we're introduced to the Inhumans in these pages, reimagined by Mike Carey and Jay Lee, with a more like demonic look to them. And you might see a couple of appearances here from other Fantastic Four villains. Now, the thing about the Ultimate Universe is you don't have to be familiar with the 616 universe in order to enjoy these stories. I think they do a really good job. All the creators do a really good job of reintroducing you to the characters. Bit of a slow start, but that's okay. So I spoke about other dimensions, and that's what the next story arc is about, where Ultimate Reed Richards is able to communicate with another world, and this other world is where we ended up getting the Marvel Zombies. This is where they originated from. So the whole Marvel Zombies 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, all those comics written by Robert Kirkman and then Fred Van Lente eventually, all started because of this collection in here. There are some returning characters. We have Ultimate Namor showing up, who is still just a jerk like his 616 counterpart. So while some characters do change a lot, other characters stay true to who they are in the 616 universe. This is the story arc by Greg Land, and this is when the Ultimate X-Men and the Ultimate Avengers get involved. This is another one of the stories featuring the character of Victor Van Dam in a little bit of a flashback, and the fight against the Skrulls here. Now, eventually Victor Van Dam, Doctor Doom will get his own Frightful Four team to attack the Fantastic Four. This is Crystal from the Inhumans. And again, Greg Land applying the artwork through here. You're going to see reimagining of other 616 characters, mainly the villains. And then, of course, the relationship between Ben and that of Alicia Masters showing up through these very pages. One of the things that I really enjoyed, I didn't really talk about, that is different here, it really shows, like, there's a subplot that goes on through the first half of this omnibus that shows the Thing, Ben Grimm's increasing depression and just this feeling of isolation, especially when he has a conversation with Reed and then Johnny Storm, just to see how different it is. I mean, underneath all that orange rock, Ben is just a man with a big heart and a lot of loyalty to his friends, who he considers family. He doesn't even consider them really friends. Now, that's all I will say about that. That gives you the pitch of what the Ultimate Fantastic Four is, and a little bit of the differences in between this and, of course, the 616 universe. Here we have, all the way in the back, the back matter. We have extras, like variant covers. And then the Ultimate Fantastic Four Volume 1 hardcover introduction by Mark Miller. And the plot points for each of the issues. And it seems like Mark Miller wrote the plot for Ultimate Fantastic Four, and then it was Brian Michael Bendis that did the dialogue. You also see the character designs here by Brian Hitch, who of course at the time was drawing Ultimate, or just the Ultimates. And I wonder if they were trying to get him to draw Ultimate Fantastic Four. And the designs for Ultimate Doom there, and the Inhumans, the Mad Thinker. Cover inks right there for Ultimate Fantastic Four number 19. And this is an introduction by Robert Kirkman for Ultimate Fantastic Four Volume 3. Then the variants with a commentary by Arthur Sudam, who does the zombie variants right here. And this is a original Marvel Zombies Marvel Tales in 2020, reprinting Ultimate Fantastic Four 21 to 23, and Marvel Zombies number 1 by In-Hyuk Lee. Original Marvel Zombie Tales introduction by Ralph Macchio. And then the cover to Wizard 146 that features 3 of the Ultimate lines here. And then your end sheets. Now let's look at the binding and talk about the build of the book, and of course, a quick comparison to the OHCs. 856 pages. It is sewn binding and printed at the Donnelly printer. And the paper stock in here, it feels like, it could just be me, but it feels like it's just a little thinner than the regular Donnelly printer paper stock they use. However, the bleed through is similar to what it's been from the Donnelly printer. It's not really. Let me see if I can find actually. I think here we go. So there is some bleed through happening. As a matter of fact, what I'll do now is actually, let's go back here and we'll compare it to the first OHC, this one here. Slide this over to the side really quick and we'll do just a quick comparison. All right, so these again came out, oh my gosh, 2010? No, had to have been older than that. 2005, there's no way. Was it really that long ago? All right, so first things first, the covers are now in a frame and they tell you the issue number and the name of the story right here. So it's fantastic. Okay, so it looks like, that's interesting. The art has shifted down for some reason instead of over here where it's right in the middle, just for that panel. I wonder why that decision was made. But anyway, you can see a little bit of the bleed through here. The paper stock they're using for the OHC, this one here, which, by the way, these had just really tight binding, is a thicker glossy paper stock. So you can see a little bit more bleed through happening over here. Again, but this book came out in 2005. And they have been using different paper stock for years. So it seems to be happening when there's light colors more, and of course when it's white. And speaking of colors, it just seems a little bit more vibrant over here than in the OHC. But it's the same dimensions, and other than that panel that was shifted down for some reason, I don't really see a difference here. Let's see. Let's get through this first issue just to double check. Oh, what I wanted to see was the actual... Actually, let's do this. Let's see the way... Okay. There ain't no way we're going to be able to compare how this book lays over compared to over here. But as far as the gutter loss, yes, this is better than the OHC. You can't even holding it down, like you can't see the whole arm there of Professor Storm. Where over here, if you hold it down a little bit, you get the whole shoulder and arm right there. So it does have at least better binding. All right. We can't compare to that. Just looking for some white pages. But anyway, that is it. That's the comparison. Again, thicker paper stock, but just bad binding. And this has thinner paper stock, the better binding, but just a little bit of bleed through happening when it's white or if it's light colors. But that is the Ultimate Fantastic Four Omnibus Volume 1. We need one more to wrap it up, right? Yeah. And that, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this omnibus, don't forget to check out our sponsors. BD Cosmos, the Canadian leader in graphic novels. They have a physical storefront in Montreal, Quebec, and their website, bdcosmos.com, offers 25% off your order of over $99 or more, and free shipping everywhere in Canada for every order of $250 or more.
Their shipping care is exceptional. Your books will stay cozy through the rough Canadian weather and arrive to you in near mint condition.
After checkout, let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way, and you'll be added to the monthly $25 gift card raffle. Entries are valid for new and returning customers.
Don't be afraid to call or email them. Ask them questions. Their staff is always happy to help guide you towards the right purchase. Visit their website, bdcosmos.com, for more. BD Cosmos, with rewards and raffles taking care of customers in Canada. Eh?
CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build of this omnibus. In the comments down below, let me know if you are picking this up, if you are getting this cover, or you're going to get the standard edition cover. And if you've never read this era of the Fantastic Four, or I guess this incarnation of the Fantastic Four, if you have any questions, leave those down below. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. Everyone, stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.